Breaking. Ford CEO just admitted they can't fix your car. There are over 6,000 empty service bays across America right now, meaning your Ford could sit at the dealership for weeks with no one to repair it, and this is happening today, not in the future. But here's the real shock. The reason Ford isn't giving the full truth. A Ford mechanic just exposed what's really going on behind the scenes. If you own a Ford or thinking about buying one, you need to see this before it costs you serious time and money. The CEO's shocking confession. Ford CEO Jim Farley just went on Yahoo Finance and the Office Hours podcast and made a confession that should scare every Ford owner. He admitted that across all Ford dealerships in America, there are 6,000 empty service bays right now. Picture this. Your $75,000 Ford F-150 breaks down. You tow it to the dealership. They have the lift. They have the tools. They have the equipment, but there's no mechanic to fix it. That service bay sits empty while you're still making $1,500 monthly payments on a truck you can't even drive. Farley said, "As of this morning, we had 5,000 openings, a bay with a lift and tools, and no one to work in it. That's 5,000 unfilled mechanic jobs, which means if your Ford needs service today, you could be waiting weeks or even months. Not for parts, not because the repair is complex, but because no one is there to work on your vehicle." Here's the kicker. Farley claims these jobs pay up to $120,000 a year, nearly double the U.S. median income of $62,000. So why aren't people lining up? Farley blamed a labor shortage and lack of respect for blue-collar work. The mechanic's devastating response. A mechanic named Wuther Ivanovko saw Farley's interview and posted a response video that went viral. He didn't just disagree with the CEO, he completely destroyed his narrative with one simple example. Ivanovko mimics a Ford dealership manager. "You'll have to do this oil pan gasket on this F-250. You'll have to pull the cab off the frame to do it, and it's under warranty. So it pays like 6 hours. Why don't you want to work for me?" Wait, what? Let me break down why this is absolutely insane and why your Ford can't get fixed. Ford tells me that replacing an oil pan gasket should take 0.6 hours. That's 36 minutes. The mechanic only gets paid for 36 minutes of work. But here's the problem. To access the oil pan on modern F-250 Super Duty trucks, you have to remove the entire cab from the frame. You're unbolting the entire passenger compartment, lifting it off with specialized equipment, doing the repair, and reassembling everything. How long does that actually take? Mechanics say at least several hours, sometimes an entire day. So, the mechanic gets paid for 36 minutes but works for 8 hours. They're literally losing money by fixing your Ford under warranty. They're working for free for 7.4 hours. Now, do you understand why there's no one to fix your car? Would you work for free? Of course not, but that's exactly what Ford expects their mechanics to do. Another mechanic named Lance created a YouTube video responding to Farley, and he dropped truth bomb after truth bomb about why your Ford is sitting unfixed at the dealership. Another mechanic named Lance created a YouTube video responding to Farley, and he dropped truth bomb after truth bomb about why your Ford is, well, just sitting unfixed at the dealership. Lance's first major revelation, the so-called 6,000 empty bays claim, is straight-up corporate manipulation. He explained something called the one-hoist rule per technician. Dealerships and Ford corporate, honestly, they see every lift as a potential profit center. If they spot an empty lift, they immediately think they're losing money. But here's the reality. Every skilled mechanic actually needs at least 2 lifts to work efficiently. Lance says, back in his prime, he needed 2 minimum but preferably 3. You need 1 for the job you're actively working on, and another for the next job that's waiting. So, when Farley says 6,000 empty bays, he's not saying there aren't enough mechanics. He's basically saying, hey, we could be generating more profit if we cram more mechanics into spaces, even without giving them proper equipment. Lance guarantees that every technician at Ford dealerships is already using every available hoist. The empty bays aren't empty because mechanics don't exist. They're empty because Ford wants to extract more profit without investing in proper resources. Your Ford sits unfixed for weeks due to a perfect storm of systemic failures. First, mechanics actively avoid warranty work because it pays far below the actual time spent, sometimes taking a whole day for a job that's priced at just 36 minutes of pay. With Ford's high breakdown and recall rates, warranty jobs absolutely flood dealerships, but skilled techs prioritize customer-paid work to actually earn a living. Second, Ford's frequent recalls. like the Mustang Mach-E stop sale that stranded new vehicles for over 800 days, completely overwhelmed shops with unprofitable work. Third, Ford's aggressive 3-year redesign cycles change components and layouts, but not the flat-rate labor times, forcing mechanics to work longer for the same pay. Fourth, experienced mechanics are quitting in droves, burned out by physical strain and financial stress, and they're actively discouraging new folks from joining the industry. Fifth, vehicles are designed for assembly line speed, not serviceability, so you end up needing massive disassembly, like pulling the whole cab, for what should be simple repairs. Finally, Ford's claim 2-week service wait is just plain misleading. A lot of owners are actually waiting months, and that's mostly because of the mechanic shortage, not parts delays. Dealership loaner fleets? They exist out of necessity, not courtesy, since customers are stuck waiting while still making payments on trucks they can't even drive. Here's why Ford's service bays are empty. Becoming a mechanic is honestly a financial trap. It starts with $30,000 to $200,000 for automotive school, and then, well, another 50 grand or so for tools. New techs earn $20 to $24 an hour while absolutely drowning in debt. Meanwhile, a Costco card attendant can pull in similar pay without all that debt. The promised $120,000 salary is super rare, requiring years of burnout and debt that most folks just never overcome. That's why your Ford isn't getting fixed. Ford's quality issues fuel the crisis. You pay $60,000 to $100,000 for a truck that often breaks within a year, triggering warranty repairs. You pay $60,000 to $100,000 for a truck that, honestly, often breaks within a year, triggering warranty repairs, but mechanics lose money on warranty work, so they either quit or just avoid it altogether. No mechanics means your truck sits for weeks while you keep making payments. It's a vicious cycle, more breakdowns, fewer mechanics, and, yeah, way longer waits. Mechanics aren't leaving due to societal disrespect, they're mistreated by dealerships. They generate most of the revenue but work in hot, noisy shops with intense pressure, while sales staff enjoy comfortable offices. If all mechanics walked out, repairs would halt nationwide, proving their value, yet they're undervalued daily. Ford charges luxury prices, often $60,000 to $100,000, and pushes 84 or 96-month loans to make them seem affordable. You could be paying for 8 years on a truck that spends weeks broken and unfixed. Beyond the immediate crisis of unfilled service bays and fleeing technicians lies another critical, long-term threat to Ford owners. A maintenance paradigm that appears cost-effective on the surface, but risks catastrophic engine failure and warranty denial. This centers on Ford's official recommendation for 10,000-mile oil change intervals, particularly for their lineup of smaller high-output turbocharged engines, such as the EcoBoost units found in the popular F-150, Explorer, and Escape. On the surface, this extended interval is marketed as a benefit, a sign of advanced engineering and a way to reduce ownership costs and time spent on routine service. If you own a Ford, expect long repair waits, not for parts but due to a mechanic shortage. If you own a Ford, you should, expect long repair waits, not because parts are missing but honestly, because there's a mechanic shortage. Your payments won't pause, and yeah, loaners aren't guaranteed. If you're thinking of buying one, maybe reconsider. You're really buying into a broken system that can't support you when it fails. Here's the truth. Ford doesn't want to admit they can't fix your vehicle because, well, they built a system that punishes mechanics. Those 6,000 empty service bays aren't empty because people won't work. They're empty because techs lose money, wreck their bodies, go into debt, and, honestly, get zero respect. That $120,000 salary claim just falls apart once you factor in flat rate pay, warranty work, $50,000 in tools, debt, and physical wear. Most mechanics never get anywhere close. Until these issues are fixed, your Ford will just keep sitting unfixed at the dealership. Based on Ford's track record, you should expect longer wait times, more frustrated owners, and, yeah, more mechanics quitting every single day. Now, I want to hear from you. If you're a mechanic who's worked with Ford, comment below and share your experience. And Ford owners, drop your repair horror stories too. If you enjoyed the content, smash that like button and subscribe for more auto content.